Cities. There are anthills. They never sleep. They're the engine of the economy. It has to move. It has to circulate. It has to work fast. So we move. We transport. We exchange. And sometimes we forget what's essential. Cities are people too. Around you, 2 out of every 3 people will be living there in 2050. The majority of the world's population. Her, them, him, and her. But also all those we tend to forget.
The city is not planned by different kinds of citizens. City planners might only, represent a more narrow part, of our citizens.
Usually cities are planned by man for man. We can see this, for example, in the naming of the streets. They are just never in the public space during the day because they are doing their full-time jobs.
Economic centre, heart of business. Cities are also responsible for 70% of the world's greenhouse gas emissions. They are also the living space of many citizens who are trying to find their place.
C'est quelque chose qui m'arrêterait de faire des enfants, c'est parce qu'on respire n'importe quoi. C'est mes poumons, c'est ma qualité de vie.
According to the World Health Organization, 5 million people die prematurely every year as a result of urban air pollution.
Because I'm lower, I have everything from the car, the diesel, and it's a very difficult situation to handle. Today we take the pollution and I visit my friends. Tomorrow maybe I won't go for pollution. But then I had to stay at home. I don't want that.
Women, children, the elderly, and people with disabilities. The citizens most affected are often the most vulnerable. So, across Europe, priorities are changing. Cities are reinventing themselves.
How we design our green areas, how we think about nature-based solutions, can we incorporate it in a way so that we also protect people better?
More inclusive, greener, more suited to those who use them every day. Some European cities are changing, proving, as you will see, that sometimes all it takes is a little common sense. The city of tomorrow has been in development here for years now. Barcelona in Spain is a benchmark. In this street, nature is used to tackle climate change, water safety, human health, and disaster risk management. This is the concept of nature-based solutions. We meet Blanca Pedrola, urban design architect and specialist in this domain. She is convinced that nature-based solutions can significantly improve air quality as well as social inclusion.
Lo llamamos soluciones basadas en naturaleza, que son soluciones inspiradas en la naturaleza que nos proveen servicios que son costo efectivos, que valen muy baratos para todos los beneficios que nos dan. Por ejemplo, tenemos la franja por donde pasan los coches, pero a cada lado tenemos franjas con naturaleza. El pavimento tiene una ligera pendiente hacia esta parte de naturaleza porque recoge el agua, con lo cual nos está ayudando a prevenir inundaciones cuando hay momentos de tormenta que además está limpiando ese agua, la está filtrando y se va a guardar en un tanque de agua, en un gran almacén de agua, para poderla luego utilizar para regar o para otros usos. Esto es el beneficio que nos da por contra de lo que es estándar. Lo estándar es tener un sistema de drenaje, una infraestructura, un tubo gris de cemento que recoge el agua de lluvia, que bueno, principalmente es un agua bastante limpia, y la estamos llevando a depuradoras para hacer un gasto energético y limpiarla, ¿no? Parece que esto es mucho más inteligente. Entonces, al final, las plantas nos proveen de tantos servicios a la vez, no solamente uno, no solamente la gestión de agua, sino todas las capas, los servicios que nos está ofreciendo, es una solución multidimensional.
But greening the streets wouldn't make much sense without a more equitable sharing of public space between pedestrians and cars. A little further on, Blanca shows us how it's possible to change priorities.
Estamos en una avenida que anteriormente estaba totalmente llena de coches, unos 5 carriles en cada sentido para coches, y se ha invertido la prioridad que se ha dado. Ahora tenemos el 70% del espacio que es para las personas, como este paseo que vemos aquí. Esto que permite coger la oportunidad de espacios para las actividades cotidianas, para los niños, para que puedan jugar, espacios para plantar verde, pero no solamente un verde ornamental o decorativo, sino un verde funcional, un verde que nos permite prevenir inundaciones y nos permite sombrear para prevenir contra los efectos del calor.
Recent studies show that these plants help reduce temperatures by 5 degrees during heat waves. A real natural air conditioner, which also protects residents from exhaust gases. So, in 2021, Barcelona's authorities decided to go even further, even changing the structure of its typical neighbourhoods.
En catalán los llamamos manzanas, en castellano se llaman illas y cuando hablamos para la gente de fuera, bloques, porque se entiende bien. En realidad, en cada uno de estos bloques viven unas 350 familias y la mitad de la población vive en su barrio o cerca de su vivienda y por lo tanto nos hacen desplazamientos pequeños de 15-20 minutos y estos se hacen a pie.
With this in mind, the authorities have rethought the very structure of the city. The beginning of a great change for the people of Barcelona.
Nosotros trabajamos de dos maneras, la llamamos táctica y estructural, pero para que se entienda mejor sería temporal y definitiva.
This is what the final transformation looks like. It's what's known as the superblocks, an ambitious project to link several blocks together, transforming a main road into a green pedestrian street. Arnaud Boix, a specialist in inclusive architecture, worked hard on this project.
Los ciudadanos en Barcelona particularmente, pero en todas las ciudades en general, son el vector de innovación y de demanda de las necesidades del espacio público. Entonces, en un gran cambio en Barcelona como el de las superilles, fue muy importante estar seguros que los ciudadanos estaban con el cambio.
But while the idea sounds great on paper, many citizens initially opposed the project.
En su momento todos lo criticábamos, y todas las personas que conozco y nosotros mismos lo criticábamos, las obras, que esto era deshacer Barcelona porque estabas deshaciendo la ciudad, la estructura de cuadrícula. Y hombre, algo de esto es real. Ha cambiado la estructura.
Among those opposed to the project, most shopkeepers feared the worst. For them, giving priority to pedestrians would inevitably impact their business.
La verdad es que en un principio tenía mis dudas, porque claro, yo al tener un negocio en el cual tengo que descargar mucho género, mucho peso, pensaba que me iría mal, me sería incómodo. pero claro, al ser del barrio nos facilitaron el hecho de poder tener más tiempo para poder descargar.
Pero lo importante no es prohibir el coche, sino lo importante es favorecer la ciudad para que podamos caminar por ella y hagamos un modelo de movilidad lenta.
Puedes atravesar una buena parte de la ciudad sin los nervios del tránsito. No hay ruido. Ahora estamos hablando. Si estuviéramos en la Gran Vía, que es un paseo importante, muy bonito en teoría, pero no podríamos estar hablando, tenemos que estar gritando, porque hay el ruido ambiental de los coches, el humo de los coches, la polución, pues esto es lo que nos ahorramos con esta distribución de ciudad.
Y el hecho de que la gente nos ve facilita la venta. De hecho, subió la venta en el momento que se hizo una plaza.
Vamos a comprar y de paso que vamos a comprar a las tiendas, pues aprovechas un momentín que hace sol, vamos con la niña y te puedes sentar aquí. Es un punto de encuentro tranquilo.
But before launching such a major structural change, the city first tested ideas in the field through small, simple interventions. This is called tactical urban planning.
El urbanismo táctico es un urbanismo temporal que cuesta muy poco dinero, porque al final básicamente se interviene con pintura, con maceteros de plantas y con mobiliario urbano. El suelo está pintado con patrones de color amarillo. El color amarillo es la pintura vial que se utiliza en lugares donde están en situación de obras, bajo construcción, con lo cual es una manera de alertar al ciudadano y a los coches que están entrando en un lugar donde la prioridad va a ser para las personas. Además es una manera utilizando unos patrones divertidos y alegres para también un poco alertar a las personas. Mucho más rápido, mucho más barato e igualmente efectivo.
Transforming the city doesn't have to be expensive. It simply requires a fairer distribution of space for those who live there daily.
No hay ruido, por lo tanto las personas que viven aquí pueden dormir mejor. Hay una mejor calidad de aire porque hemos evitado coger el coche. Hay un espacio para las actividades cotidianas, con lo cual estamos favoreciendo también un urbanismo ecofeminista que promueve las actividades diarias, que al final es un urbanismo más justo para la mayoría de las personas.
A city where housing, work, schools and shops are all accessible within 15 minutes. This is the foundation of an urban model that is not only greener, but also fairer. Vienna is a pioneer of this approach.
This is now again on the agenda under an environmental perspective, the city of short distances or also the 15-minute city. But this was originally a feminist idea.
Julia Girardi-Hug is an architectural sociologist. For years, she has rethought the city through the lens of gender.
Usually cities are planned by men for men. We can see this, for example, in the naming of the streets. Most streets, 92% of the streets are named after men and 8% of streets are only named after women. So this also shows us that men are thinking about how to design a city, how to design roads, how to design offices, because this is their reality, this is what they know. And what women had to do in the background, they had to do a lot of struggle. They had a lot of struggles to take the kids to the doctors, to do the shopping. And this was just nothing that was in the core center of attention of the urban planner. So 30 years ago, women started to take a seat on the table and to say that, no, we don't want these monofunctional cities where in one place you only sleep and in the other place you only shop and in the third place you only work, but we want multifunctional cities.
This idea was already being promoted in 1991 through the exhibition Whose Public Space? A Feminist Vision of the City.
So this exhibition, that was ridiculed by some guys, and they said, okay, now we're doing public space for women, the next exhibition we're going to do public space for dogs or what.
Fortunately, mindsets have changed. Vienna is now an example for many cities in inclusive architecture. Julia is keen to show just how simple it can be. It's about rethinking public space. In this park, just a few small changes were enough to make it accessible for everyone.
It was very narrow here, there was lots of bushes, and it was a place that was not frequented by a lot of women during the daytime. So we asked women and girls what they would want to experience here, and we realized we have to offer different options of passing the square. So here we took away all the bushes and made sure that all the trees remained for the shade in summer. And so as you can see here now, you clearly see who is coming towards you, and if a group of people or people are coming towards you that you don't want to encounter when passing by, you can choose a different path. So there's like many different ways to cross this square.
To add multiple paths, cut back bushes, improvements that didn't cost the town much but had an immediate impact on the neighbourhood dynamic.
We made a counting, and there's a lot more people now staying here for longer during the day, which increases also the safety, the feeling of safety for others. If there's many people sitting and staying and observing the place, there's more social control, and there's even more people enjoying their time here. And what we can also see here is a very dense mixture of homeless people, of young people, elderly people of all different backgrounds. So with this visibility and safety and greenery, that's really proof that then a lot of people can spend time next to each other on a very tight square.
Bringing together different social realities was also the goal behind developing the museum's quarter in the historic city centre. Here, as Julia explains, every detail counts.
We have this temporary art project now with the boxes with the trees. We see big changes with the trees because the courtyard can be used during much longer times in the summer, also during lunchtime in the afternoons. It would be too hot otherwise, so we can really see the effect of those trees. I think an important piece is the furniture that is so versatile for all the different target groups. It's made of hard recycled plastic, and it's even here in wintertime, and it offers a public space where you can sit without consuming anything.
This means that even disadvantaged people can use the space without standing out or feeling excluded. Vienna goes even further, taking art out of the museums and into the streets for everyone to enjoy.
We know from studies that mostly higher educated people actually pay to get inside the museum. So we brought the arts out where the people are, so that everybody, even kids and people with less educational background, can enjoy arts. And by changing it and making it temporarily, this place remains interesting for everybody to come by after some months and look at different pieces of art. The trees and the furniture, the entries, they will be rearranged every year and repainted, and so you never know what to expect when you come back here, and so you come back.
Helping the most vulnerable residents reclaim their place in the city, that's the idea behind DivAirCity, a European project in Bucharest, Romania, Aarhus, Denmark and Orvieto, Italy. North of Rome, an hour and a half's drive away, the small town doesn't seem like a big metropolis.
Comincia la distribuzione delle mappe, quindi si avvicinino I capitani, le squadre, si avvicinino. Ecco un'altra partecipante. Continua questa nostra attività di conoscenza, di acquisizione di consapevolezze nel nostro quartiere di Orvieto Scalo.
Even if it's surrounded by nature, Orvieto also faces poor air quality in certain areas.
Orvieto is small and definitely apparently doesn't have the challenges and the struggles that other cities and bigger cities might have in terms of air pollution. But that's apparently.
Ovviamente lo scopo primario è il divertimento.
In questa zona di Orvieto Scalo, che è diciamo per la zona di Orvieto la più inquinata perché è attraversata da molte strade, abbiamo pensato di fare un'azione in questo giardino e quindi volevamo utilizzare questo giardino per potenziare la possibilità di abbattere il CO2, non solo il CO2, e contemporaneamente però per ridare in maniera più forte alla comunità uno spazio che ad oggi è ancora poco usato.
So this is a big space, big green space, but actually empty. So, great, lots of trees, but no one comes around here.
So, to make the site more inviting, everyone is getting involved, starting with the students, who are the first to be affected.
Noi ragazzi della scuola che vanno comunque in questo posto per socializzare, per stare insieme, sia più comunque importante vedere la prospettiva di persone che sfruttano questo luogo invece di persone come scienziati che magari lo vengono a esaminare però non vivono in questo posto e quindi non possono dare delle soluzioni per un posto che non frequentano. Si utilizzano delle tecnologie più avanzate che comunque possono aiutare nell'ambiente, però per produrle bisogna consumare energia e produrre rifiuti che usando soluzioni naturali non si creerebbero, è più adeguata.
Vi divertirete, vi stancherete, quindi stasera anche i vostri genitori saranno contentissimi perché andrete a letto molto presto.
Thanks to this public consultation and these events, public authorities gather valuable information. They get to know the local people and so understand their needs.
Diversity has been shaped on the base of one critical and crucial concept, and it's the fact that you are not challenging, you're not sorting out air pollution, you're not sorting out climate change, if you're not sorting out inclusivity.
Faremo dell'accessibilità, dell'inclusione e del rispetto anche dell'ambiente, del bene comune ambientale che ci circonda.
So this is the underlying statement of DivAirCity, which is of course a play on word, diversity and air pollution and cities. And this is where it all comes together.
Inizia l'orienting! L'orienting consente, attraverso una mappa di individuare alcuni punti localizzati strategicamente in aree che ci interessano poi nel progetto di riqualificazione, consentire alle squadre di individuare l'area, tracciarla e poi in alcuni punti di controllo trovare un cartellone a disposizione in cui i partecipanti potranno esprimere il loro parere rispetto a cosa effettivamente piace loro del posto, cosa modificherebbero e come lo andrebbero a modificare.
Abbiamo scritto sul cartellone che vorremmo più giochi e meno inquinamento e vorremmo che si costruisse un bel ponte.
E quindi cerchiamo noi, osservandoli mentre loro si muovono, giocano e ci danno delle informazioni che poi riverranno tradotte nella progettualità.
Anche se siamo comunque giovani, noi abbiamo voglia di metterci in gioco e abbiamo la curiosità di imparare e sperimentare. Per abbassare il tasso di inquinamento abbiamo scelto di utilizzare varie tipologie di piante, tra cui la fotinia, che è una pianta piemontese, che però è una siepe, quindi messa lungo queste zone e mangia, come si dice, l'inquinamento, insieme all'acero riccio, che a sua volta mangia l'inquinamento e purifica l'aria.
It's not only empowering in a sort of top-down kind of approach, but it's very much bottom-up.
Orvieto, anche se è una piccola città, può fare avere un ruolo importante nel cambiamento climatico, perché può dare spunto a tante grandi città come Milano, che hanno una metropoli molto più grande, quindi un tasso di inquinamento più alto.
It's about them having a real say and having a real role in order to design something that it's going to be used by them and it's designed by them. So it's total 360-degree involvement.
Much further north, there's the city of Aarhus, 200 kilometers west of Copenhagen, Denmark. Located right on the seafront, here too, air pollution is a problem.
Denmark has very long coastline, but this also means that the sea is very close in proximity to us. So we have a lot of international ship transport, and that pollutes the air, also in Aarhus.
So, just like in Orvieto, public authorities consult local people for this particular boulevard. Frequented by car drivers as well as pedestrians and cyclists, a route that Per Bogiskov takes every day. Today he meets Sarah Cruz Cox, head of the city's Environment and Health Project. Together they'll be travelling this daily route to understand what's at stake.
Because I'm lower than people walking around, my nose is simply lower. I have everything from the car, the diesel, and but when I think about it, I have to say, okay, today we take the pollution, that's okay, and I visit my friends. Tomorrow maybe I won't go for pollution, but then I have to stay at home. I don't want that.
So Per decided to get involved in the project, because that's what makes DivAirCity unique. Direct involvement of citizens, looking for simple and effective solutions.
The idea is that you can somehow use things that are possible. Can we say no cars in Aarhus? Yeah, we could do that, but that will not work. And it will never be approved politically because it would cause so many other problems. So this is kind of working with things that you can actually do something about.
Per invites Sarah to see this park. Reshaped in 2021, it has been completely redesigned and now offers a more inclusive architecture.
I go here for training. There we have 2 kilometers approximately around in the park. You can go uphill, you can go other people in a wheelchair. This place is based for everyone. It's accessible for anyone.
We climb a small hill overlooking the park. This one is not a random choice.
So this hill you see here is actually working as a barrier between the traffic and the rest area. What's interesting about this place is that every person that lives in this neighborhood, even though you live in the apartments and you chose to live in a busy city, you still have the opportunity to go to a green area and find peace, and quiet. And they did it by doing this natural wall, you can say here, full of plants between street and park.
Nature is here to protect, but also to encourage people to meet. Here, the green space is crossed by numerous wheelchair-accessible paths. Plenty of opportunity for sport, fresh air, and above all, meet the neighbours.
Then I have 2 things happening at the same time. We make a green area in the city, and we make it possible, or even more possible, in a wheelchair, to ride the area, use the area on a summer day, go in the park, walk in the park, or just meet someone. It's really important for me to go and take part of what happens around me. It's nice because you can talk to a neighbor.
Per and Sara think of a similar project for this problematic zone in Aarhus.
The street behind us is one of our hotspots chosen or identified for the project.
Here they planted some trees, but that's mostly for looking good, I think. It doesn't work.
Now it's just open between traffic and green area. We are actually making people wait in the polluted air.
You need this, like the park we just had, a hill or something like that.
We could imagine a barrier like the park before. This is something that we would like to look into, to see how we design our green areas, how we think about nature-based solutions. Can we incorporate it in a way so that we also protect people better when they move around in the city while they wait for their public transportation? Can we make it in a way so that we also support biodiversity, maybe, you know, support it so that people find it nice to wait for the bus and that they're screened from the air pollution while they wait for their bus.
We are not stopping. We're not stopping. We're just going
Meanwhile, another visit is underway. Soren, Sara's colleague and project manager at the municipality, is cycling through the streets with Torbjørn, scientist and expert in air quality.
It's a public square, so we have a lot of different people meeting up down there. So it's mainly this street that has been appointed as one of the big issues, because as you also see here, it's very evident that we got loads of traffic, both commercial and private, through this square. And at the same time, we are a bit worried about, you know, wind effects.
As in many cities, wind can have counterproductive effects. It can keep pollution in one place instead of blowing it away. This is the case in what is called street canyons.
A street canyon is an urban geometry found in many European cities. Now, when you have buildings on both sides of the street, when the wind is blowing over the top of the roof, you get a vortex in the canyon. And this means that we measure much higher air pollution concentrations on one side of the street compared to the other side of the street. Some people have suggested planting trees in street canyons, but that will not be a good solution, because when you have trees with large crowns, the wind speed in the canyon even more, so the already reduced mixing becomes even less. Ideally, you would close down the entire canyon and say move the cars somewhere else, but in many situations this is not possible. So the options are vegetation barriers or green walls.
But to better target the most problematic areas in terms of air quality, certain measurements must first be taken. And it starts here, at the Danish Technical Institute. As the scientific reference for the project, the Institute is supplying air sensors, which will be distributed to the most vulnerable citizens.
So this one here is the particle sensor, which is the one which is most interesting in relation to the DivAirCity project, because this is the actual air pollution monitoring unit.
Now we just have the opportunity to get some data on the level of exposure.
This is new areas of science that no one has explored before. There has been research done on baby prams, where we know that the exposure of the children in the baby pram is higher than the adult pushing the pram through a heavily trafficked city. So we know that there are exposure differences for different heights, so it's likely that we will see similar things for cargo bikes and wheelchairs and so on.
For this experiment, citizens themselves will take the measurements. They are equipped with a box containing a GPS and the famous air sensor. The device was specially designed for the DivAirCity project.
Målet er jo at skabe nogle sunde cykelstier og få rykket rundt i trafikken i byen og få gjort borgerne bevidst om, hvor de skal cykle og hvor meget forurening de eventuelt indtager, når de cykler på de mest trafikerede veje.
For mig er det mega spændende, fordi jeg har altid tænkt, at det var sundt at cykle. Det vil jeg gerne have øget bevidsthed om, og jeg vil også gerne sætte mig lidt ind i hvad god og dårlig luftkvalitet var.
Vi skal bo sundt og glade at blive inddraget som borger i at kunne være med til at gøre en forskel.
But to be involved, citizens must first know what we are talking about. So in Bucharest, Romania, scientists and public authorities organise sensory walks. The aim is to raise residents' awareness of urban air quality.
Deci o să puteți să luați fiecare dintre voi o hartă.
Charles Berville is a researcher and a specialist in sustainable cities.
Deci asta ne permite să măsurăm calitatea zgomotului.
He's one of the many scientific partners in the DivAirCity project.
Deci trebuie să aveți 3 pixuri ca să puteți să faceți o legendă cu 3 culori.
Today, he is leading these students on a special tour. Together, they will experience their city in a different way.
On les fait passer sur des grands boulevards où il y a beaucoup de bruit et on va sur des petites ruelles jusqu'à des endroits un peu plus protégés du bruit. Donc c'est une promenade sensorielle, dirons-nous, où on a des capteurs sur nos sacs à dos, des capteurs de qualité de l'air, on a des capteurs, un sonomètre ici pour pouvoir mesurer aussi bien la pollution sonore que la pollution de l'air.
On a map, children record their results, a way of making them aware that there are alternative routes.
Am realizat că unele zone sunt mai puțin poluate decât altele, deoarece mașinile merg acolo mai puțin. Deci am învățat niște rute pe care aș putea să le iau ca să am aerul mai curat. Mi se par liniștitoare.
Acum puteți, înainte să măsurăm, să închideți ochii.
Another DivAirCity partner, Roxana Treboi, is an urban architect specialised in nature-based solutions.
Și pentru mine a fost remarcabil să văd că copiii acceptă că mașina, că spațiul public e dominat de mașini și că e normal și că siguranța lor nu este ceva primordial și mă bucur că am putut să vin să fac o schimbare.
But there's more than just a sensory walk. Then there's this square. Deserted by residents until a few months ago, it has been transformed into a greener space. Children are invited to take part in its maintenance. Here again, the aim is to raise their awareness.
Păi, înainte, prima oară când ați venit la școală, așa, echipa, nu eram prea interesată în acest proiect. A doua oară când am participat, mi s-a părut mai interesant pentru că vorbeam despre locuri unde putem noi, pietonii, să ne plimbăm. Și acum cu grădinăritul, hobby-ul meu, unul dintre hobby-urile mele preferate, mi-a atras toată atenția.
S-a produs o schimbare în creierul meu, deoarece acum pasiunea mea de a grădinări s-a extins cumva.
Am înțeles importanța mediului și am înțeles și cât de important este să plantez în jurul orașului meu.
The idea of a more inclusive city was born in their minds. Children are now aware that the street belongs to them too, and that nature-based solutions can make a real difference to their daily lives.
Și copiii sunt societatea de mâine, adică dacă îi educăm astăzi să devină activi în procesul de gestionare, de desenare a orașului, mâine vor fi poate se vor simți mai liber în a se exprima și implica în procesul de creare a orașului.
To change the whole city with a wave of a magic wand is impossible. On the other hand, changing habits costs nothing. In Aarhus, it's time to take stock. Measures collected by citizens confirm that some are more affected by pollution than others.
After all, the difference between my breathing and other people are breathing. It's not only 15.5 meters or so, but nevertheless, there is a quite high difference.
Thanks to these measurements, the most polluted areas have been mapped. The next step is to find alternative routes that will enable more vulnerable citizens to avoid them.
We have been successful designing routes that reduce the citizens' exposure to air quality with up to 7% for the wheelchair users and up to 50% for the bicycle users.
Den er meget sundere end den her rute her, så det er godt at køre den her vej.
So the clean air routes are longer than the baseline routes, but then they are less polluted.
Jeg tror, det er meget vigtigt at fortælle folk, at der er faktisk rigtig mange, der dør af dårlig luftkvalitet. Så det kan godt betale sig at bruge mere tid, end at tage den direkte rute.
So if you can get a lot of people to travel along the clean air route, then you will reduce the air pollution exposure of a lot of people very quickly. Maybe all cities will have clean air routes in 10 years. Now we know that the clean air routes, they are cleaner. You breathe less pollution, less particle pollution when you travel along these routes. What does it take for people to actually use them?
This is where we see the advantage of involving local people directly in the process. Solutions are not imposed on them by experts, but are devised directly by them, together with specialists and public authorities.
The city is the same, but I changed a little bit because where I live, I have a little route, which is called now it's called My Name, and that's great fun. But it's also a way take my route from A to B. That's great.
To motivate residents to take these alternative routes, a system of rewards has also been devised in the form of an orientation course.
We are going to make an app which will tell people which routes to take and also provide them with some rewards if they do take that route, because we have some deals with some of the local businesses that they can give out some things for free if you prove that you're walking these other roads.
Another outcome of the project is the creation of a large green wall along the boulevard. Once all the plants have grown, it will act as a protective barrier against traffic pollution and will also provide residents with protection against noise.
This is a plant barrier. It's 24 meters long and 2 meters high.
Vi skal plante cirka 107 planter på begge sider af hegnet der. Og det er planter, som er gode til at opsuge forurening fra luften.
They have been specifically chosen because of their quality, their air cleaning quality. These plants have a big leaf structure, and actually they are hairy underneath, which capture even more particles.
Fra starten af tænkte jeg, at det ikke rigtig ville give mening rent sådan arkitektonisk eller fysisk på pladsen, men det gør det faktisk.
When the plants are fully thriving, hopefully, they will be 60 centimeters thick. And these measurements is what's been qualified from Technological Institute to be a decent size of a plant barrier, so that people will be screened if they take a rest behind this screen here.
Vi har ikke tænkt os at flytte ud af byen, så alt hvad vi ligesom kan gøre for at luften bliver bedre for os og for vores børn, det synes jeg er super fedt.
Der manglede noget her.
And once again, it was the citizens themselves who took charge of the field in collaboration with the public authorities.
De her elever man kan sige, bor jo i bygninger her rundt omkring og er utroligt tæt på, man kan sige, det er jo deres baggård et eller andet sted. Det er deres by, så det er jo rigtig vigtigt for dem, at de både får et forhold til deres by, men at de også er med til at skabe den fremtid, som de er en del af, og også i den by, som de formentlig bliver en del af, stor del af deres liv. Så jeg synes, det er vigtigt, at de kommer ud og får noget jord på hænderne og arbejder.
In Italy too, it's time to take stock. After 4 years, the city of Orvieto is inaugurating its new square.
Prima c'era ad esempio la sabbia, però ora c'è una specie di pavimentino. Uno di quei oggetti che gira e quelle altalene giganti.
But the project doesn't stop there. Children and local residents are invited to imagine what comes next.
Ora stiamo proponendo delle idee, disegnandole e scrivendole su un foglio.
E tipo io adesso ho disegnato un muro per l'arrampicata.
È molto bello, però magari manca ancora qualche cosa. Alberi, fiori, magari qualche panchina, anche per gli anziani, un po' di spazio più ombreggiato.
Abbiamo fatto la rima perché è pronta la quarta!
Behind these improvements, the idea was to attract residents to this area, where the air quality is better. To achieve this, one detail, but not the least, was changed with members of an association for people with disabilities.
Allora, noi ci troviamo in un tunnel che è un sottopasso e questo permetterebbe di fare un unico passaggio pedonale evitando le macchine.
Era tutto buio, era la parte buia, paurosa.
Quindi cosa abbiamo pensato di fare? Di disegnare un percorso verde chiaro con le impronte dei piedi bianche che ci danno l'idea di luminosità, in modo particolare nella sera.
Questa zona è migliore rispetto a prima, perché nel corso del tempo abbiamo come dire, riqualificato un po' l'ambiente.
Che ci rappresenta il verde? La gioia, tanta gioia e pace.
Here again, this project shows that with sometimes very simple solutions, things can change.
Actually, we haven't improved probably the pollution in the specific site, but what we definitely improve is the pollution on the citizens. So this was an empty space until we address it and we transform it. And to go from one place to another before, usually the main road, which was very polluted, was used by moms, people with every abilities, pedestrian, even just going along a very, very polluted area. It's very difficult to address the impact in such a short time, but actually we can see it because it was totally empty and it's now crowded. We have just done a little step and now it's up to the cities. It belongs to the people.
There's still one problem to solve: traffic. How to improve the air quality without completely banning it? In Brussels, this is a question that citizens have been asking themselves. They looked at the impact of lorries, cars and vans used to deliver goods. Although they account for only 10% of all vehicles in the city, they are responsible for 30 to 50% of atmospheric emissions from urban transport and take up to 40% of road space. They pollute more and take up more space. So, some people have decided to replace them with bicycles.
L'idée de base, c'est des citoyens qui se sont dit qu'ils voulaient utiliser des livraisons qui étaient plus durables, plus écologiques et aussi qui étaient plus adaptées à la ville et particulièrement au centre urbain.
Ça s'est professionnalisé parce qu'il y a une demande de plus en plus croissante qui est liée à la congestion des villes et à Bruxelles notamment avec le centre-ville qui est vraiment devenu de pire en pire.
Today, Cargo Velo makes over 100,000 deliveries a year in 3 Belgian cities on a fundamental concept:
Okay, vas-y, dis-moi.
The last kilometre.
Le dernier kilomètre, c'est le kilomètre sur lequel il se passe le plus de choses dans le transport d'un colis, parce que c'est là que soit il va transitionner d'un hub à un autre, soit c'est là qu'on va le livrer, soit il va arriver dans un point relais. Et donc c'est
ce dernier kilomètre qui est le plus impactant sur le trajet du colis et qui donc impacte plus les gens qui vivent autour du lieu où va arriver le colis.
According to a study by the Belgian Cycle Logistics Federation, while cargo bikes average 25 deliveries per hour, trucks and vans would only make 15. Cargo bikes would therefore offer more efficient urban logistics and, above all, zero emissions.
On transporte un petit peu beaucoup de choses différentes. Alors bien entendu, on ne va pas transporter des grands meubles parce que ça n'a pas de sens de faire ça à vélo, mais ça peut aller de paquets liés à l'e-commerce, tout comme ça peut être des fleurs, ça peut être des plantes ou des échantillons médicaux. Donc c'est des choses qui ont des tailles variables parce que des paquets du e-commerce, ça peut être une chaise de gaming comme ça peut être un smartphone. Donc on a vraiment un peu de tout, c'est un vrai Tetris sur le vélo.
So many things that are no longer transported in vans. Knowing that this type of vehicle occupies an average surface area of 12 square meters, that's 6 times more space than a cargo bike.
Les camionnettes, les vannes, les camions, c'est pas adapté au centre-ville urbain, parce que ça n'arrête pas d'avancer, d'arrêter, ça accélère et tout ça. Ça abîme la ville, dans le sens où les sols, il y a un moment, les rues, il faut les refaire et tout ça, parce qu'il y a beaucoup de passages de véhicules. Un vélo, ça n'a pas du tout le même poids, ça se faufile dans la circulation, ça fait très peu d'embouteillage.
For customers like this sandwich shop manager, bike deliveries even make the business more profitable.
Bonne journée, courage. Oui. Donc avant, je livrais les sandwichs moi-même, les personnes me passaient commande et je faisais la livraison en voiture. Donc, ce qui veut dire le trajet, trouver une place de parking, monter, donner les plateaux, ce qui n'est pas possible, c'est pas rentable. Tandis qu'avec Cargo Vélo, ils arrivent, 10h30, ils sont là, je donne les plateaux, ils vont livrer, ils sont rarement impactés par le trafic. D'un côté, quand je suis ici, je suis plus productif.
In addition to deliveries, Baptistine and her colleagues are also working to raise awareness of air quality by regularly changing the measurement tubes, which are then analysed by a laboratory.
Sur les 24 points dont nous on s'occupe, il y en a 4 qui sont complètement hors des normes, qui ont 2 fois ou 2 fois et demi ce qu'ils sont censés avoir. Et donc ça prouve bien qu'il y a du travail à faire sur la qualité de l'air. Le point où on est ici est un des points aussi qui n'est pas bon du tout. En tant que citoyenne, ça m'interpelle un minimum parce que c'est mes poumons, c'est ma qualité de vie. Moi, je suis bruxelloise de cœur, de naissance. Et donc, j'ai toujours connu Bruxelles plus ou moins embouteillée. Et voilà, j'ai pas d'enfants, mais par exemple, c'est quelque chose qui m'arrêterait de faire des enfants. C'est parce qu'on respire n'importe quoi et qu'il n'y a pas grand-chose qui est fait pour. Et après, à notre niveau, nous, sur le terrain, qu'est-ce que nous on peut faire? Moi, j'ai décidé de m'investir dans la cyclo-logistique. En fait, actuellement, en Belgique, il n'y a que 1,5% des livraisons qui sont faites à vélo et on pourrait monter ce chiffre dans les centres urbains jusqu'à 33%. Vous imaginez la situation ici, si on avait, sur les 100 voitures qui passent autour de nous, il y en a 33, ce seraient des vélos, ce serait complètement différent.
Throughout our meetings, we came to understand one thing, that climate issues, human health, air quality, and the challenges cities will face in the future can only be addressed by working directly with citizens, especially the most vulnerable ones. Those who experience the city every day are, in the end, the only ones who can truly reinvent it.